going on?
Properly.
Therefore, gonna be seeing you later, sweetheart.
Wait to be invited.
Come on, Dean, had to bust your first nut, bro.
What the fuck do you think you're doing?
Duck out, Grandad. This has got shit to do with.
Oh, really? Telling you all now. Shit! You're too pissy.
Shut up! Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!
The film begins with Richie, a middle-aged man, practicing his shooting with a former Mafia boss. Richie is a British citizen who has moved to Spain to retire. Even though he has left the criminal world, it's clear he is not an ordinary man. He lives in a luxurious villa that shows how wealthy he is. That afternoon, while having lunch with his daughter Carmen, Richie says he misses his older brother Charlie, who still lives in the UK. The story then cuts to Charlie talking with friends about Richie's past. He soon gets a call from Richie in Spain. Through the call, the two brothers tell each other how much they miss one another. After the call, Charlie went back to his group of friends. A woman named Lizzie, who knew Richie, walked over and asked for his phone number. She said she had liked Richie for some time. Thinking they might be a good match, Charlie agreed to help and gave her his brother's number. Elsewhere in London, a couple named Aaron and Lauren walked down a quiet street. But Aaron, who was actually the leader of a gang, was planning to harm her. He led her into a narrow alley where his gang members were already waiting. In that tight space, the gang harassed Lauren and intentionally filmed everything that happened. One of the gang members, Dean, tried to step in, but Aaron blocked him. At the same time, Charlie heard noises behind the bar and rushed over. When he saw the gang about to hurt Lauren, he told her to run and then shouted at the gang members. But instead of stopping, the gang mocked Charlie. Angry, Charlie punched one of them. This enraged Aaron, who told his men to kill Charlie.
Heap of dog shit! You're pissy! Your hands!
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!
Moments later, Lizzie stepped out of the bar to look for Charlie and was shocked to find him dead in the alley. That night, she reported everything to two detectives, Susan Taylor and John. The detectives couldn't arrest Aaron or his gang because there wasn't enough evidence. Lizzie also hadn't seen the attack clearly. She only saw the gang leaving the alley where Charlie was found dead. She later told Richie about his brother's death. Hearing the news, Richie was devastated and decided to return to the UK. The story continues with Detectives Susan and John confronting Aaron and his gang. They warn him that if they find enough evidence, they will arrest everyone and charge them with Charlie's murder. Aaron denies everything and walks away. As soon as the detectives leave, he tells his men to silence Lauren, the only witness to the attack. Knowing what Aaron planned to do, Dean quietly went to Lauren's house and warned her that Aaron was coming. He told her to stay inside to stay safe. Soon after, Aaron and a few gang members arrived at her doorstep. Through the small opening in the door, he threatened her, ordering her to keep quiet and not talk to the police about Charlie's murder. He also warned that if she spoke up, both she and her mother would be killed. Meanwhile, Richie arrived in the UK and met with Roy, one of his trusted allies. He then went to Lizzie's house to learn what had happened to Charlie. Lizzie explained that she hadn't seen the attack herself, but she believed the people who killed Charlie were members of a gang known for causing trouble in London. Richie and Roy then visited the place where Charlie was killed. There, they met Detectives Susan and John, who were working on the case. Knowing Richie's past as a former Mafia boss, Susan asked him to let the police handle the investigation. Although he was hesitant, Richie agreed to let the police handle the case and then walked away. That evening at the bar, Lizzie told him she had found a video of Aaron and his gang harassing Lauren. She believed it might be linked to Charlie's death. Since she knew Lauren, Lizzie gave Richie the address of the place where Lauren worked. Richie later met with Lauren to ask what had happened to his brother. Because she was grateful to Charlie, Lauren agreed to tell him everything. They sat together and talked in a quiet spot near her workplace. Lauren revealed that Aaron and his gang were responsible for Charlie's murder. However, neither she nor Richie noticed that DK, a girl from Aaron's gang, had seen Lauren talking to him about what happened. DK went back to the gang's hideout and told Aaron that Lauren had revealed everything to a man named Richie. Aaron assumed Richie was just an ordinary middle-aged man and didn't take it seriously. The story then cuts to Charlie's funeral, where Richie and his former Mafia associates had gathered. Not long after, an old man named Arthur arrived. Richie joked that Arthur should go home because he was too old to be with them. Feeling insulted, Arthur said he was the only one who had ever come close to beating Richie, which made everyone laugh. Richie then thanked him for coming and said Arthur's presence had helped bring the old crew back together. After the funeral, Richie visited an old acquaintance, Jack, a former police chief now living in a modest house. Richie asked him to help investigate Aaron and his gang. In return, Richie promised to give Jack part of his wealth so he could enjoy a more comfortable retirement. A few days later, Jack gave Richie information about several gang members. However, he couldn't find anything on Aaron, the gang's leader. Using what Jack discovered, Richie asked his old friends to kidnap 2 members of the gang, Leroy and Ed. When they were caught, Leroy and Ed mocked Richie and his crew, calling them a group of old men. They refused to answer any questions and kept asking where Aaron was. Instead, they insulted Richie and his friends and even threatened them. Seeing how arrogant they were, Richie and his crew just laughed. It was clear the two had no idea who they were dealing with. But when Ed insulted Charlie, Richie lost his temper. At Richie's signal, Arthur pulled out a nail and hammer and drove the nail through the back of Ed's hand. Then he took a power drill and drilled into Ed's leg, leaving Ed in intense pain. Seeing his friend being tortured, Leroy panicked. Afraid of ending up like Ed, he quickly agreed to help Richie and said he would lure Aaron out of hiding. Richie's friends didn't trust him, but Richie surprisingly chose to believe him and let him go. But as soon as Leroy was released, he pulled out a gun and tried to shoot Richie. Richie reacted quickly and shot him first, killing him on the spot. Richie then calmly said he never trusted Leroy, he just didn't want to hurt someone who seemed harmless. His comment made the whole group laugh. Moments later, as they prepared to keep questioning Ed, they realized he had died from the torture. Meanwhile, Aaron was frustrated after hearing that 2 of his men had suddenly gone missing. He assumed a rival gang was responsible. The next day, Richie returned to see Lauren and asked her to help him find the remaining members of Aaron's gang. Lauren said that one of the gang members, JB, had recently been seen in a parking lot. Feeling guilty for involving her again, Richie asked for her phone number. But before she could answer, Detective Susan suddenly appeared. She stepped in to protect Lauren, who was actually her daughter, and firmly told Richie to keep her away from this dangerous situation. The scene then shifts to a parking lot. JB saw Arthur standing alone and thought he was just a weak old man, so he tried to scare him. But when Arthur suddenly pulled out a sword, JB, who was on a bike, panicked and tried to ride away. Before he could escape, a car pulled up in front of him, and he crashed. The car was driven by one of Richie's crew members. Arthur had been standing there on purpose to lure JB in. JB was then captured by Richie's team, tied up, and left hanging in an abandoned building. When Richie asked where Aaron was hiding, JB refused to answer and continued to look down on everyone. He even mocked Charlie, saying he looked like a stupid dog while being beaten to death. Hearing this, Richie snapped and killed JB.
I'm gonna fucking kill all of you!
How's that for fucking art?
Afterward, Richie's old illness suddenly returned, forcing him to stay in the hospital for treatment. As his condition slowly improved, he began planning how to lure Aaron out of hiding. A few days later, Aaron and his gang were seen preparing weapons, thinking a rival gang might attack them. Suddenly, Lauren arrived at their hideout to meet Aaron. She told him that all the missing gang members had been kidnapped and killed by Richie. She also revealed that Richie was now in the hospital. While they were talking, Lauren's mother called. Aaron told her to pick up so Susan wouldn't grow suspicious. After Lauren explained the situation, Aaron and his gang went straight to the hospital, taking her hostage. He then ordered his men to split up and search for Richie's room. Soon after, 2 of Aaron's men found a hospital room and opened fire on the bed, thinking Richie was there. But it was a trap. Richie and his team had been waiting behind them and launched a surprise attack. At that moment, Aaron was in the elevator. When he heard the gunshots, he immediately realized Richie had figured out his plan. Seeing Lauren's behavior, Aaron grew suspicious and checked her phone. He discovered she had been helping Richie set up him and his gang. Furious, Aaron tried to kill her. Luckily, Dean arrived in time and tackled Aaron to the ground, saving her. Moments later, a fierce gunfight broke out between Richie's crew and Aaron's gang. Realizing how dangerous things had become, Lauren quickly called her mother, Susan, and asked her to come to the hospital. Meanwhile, Richie and his crew took down Aaron's men one by one. Unfortunately, one of Richie's men was shot in the arm and had to be taken to the emergency room. Dean then tried to get Lauren out of the hospital to keep her safe. However, Aaron spotted them and grabbed Lauren, taking her hostage to force Richie out of hiding. Moments later, Richie and his team arrived and saw Aaron preparing to shoot. Suddenly, Dean attacked from behind, disrupting Aaron's plan. Aaron's gun slid across the floor toward Richie. Richie rushed to grab it but struggled to reload it in time. At that moment, Aaron stood in front of Richie, pulled out another gun, and aimed it at him. But the gun was empty, so he couldn't shoot. Just then, Susan arrived with a team of police officers. Seeing that Aaron was about to attack Richie, they immediately opened fire and took him down. After the incident, Richie stayed in the hospital for treatment. Susan visited him and thanked him for saving her daughter. A few days later, Richie hosted a big party at a club. There, he met Lizzie again and admitted he knew she liked him. But when Richie invited her to move to Spain with him, Lizzie refused, saying she didn't want to leave England. At the end of the film, Richie's friends sadly said goodbye as he prepared to return to Spain, especially after everything they had gone through to avenge Charlie. But suddenly, Richie walked up behind them, surprising everyone. They had thought he had already flown back to Spain on a private helicopter. He told them he had decided to stay because he wanted to live and fight alongside the friends he cared about most. The film ends with Richie and his crew getting ready to take on crime in London as a way to make up for their past mistakes. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button. And if you didn't, you can hit dislike twice. Be sure to watch the full movie and thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos.